Welcome back. Let's be real. We back here again. How everyone is doing.
Good. That's all I can say. Because society today, I don't know, man. The simulation's off. If we in the matrix, am I sleeping in a tank somewhere? I don't know what's going on, man. It's too much. It's just too much for one mind to process.
Yeah, I feel you. I can't lie. I've had a good week, so I'm tired. But the boys,
Coach Sheedy, I
defense,
see you out here. Coach Sheedy, let's go.
eight quarters, eight quarters, and we ain't seen nothing behind us but some asses. We good. Let's roll.
But hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving. Of course, we took a week off for the holidays. But as always, y'all know y'all can follow us on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook at LBR_media. Mainly Twitter. That's where everything we'll talk about our personal profiles, and we'll promote those at the end of the episode. Also, subscribe and hit the notification button on YouTube, and you can watch us live every Saturday morning. And we are on 11 different podcasting platforms. And shout out to everyone who listened. We got the Spotify numbers for the year. Shout out to everyone who's listened throughout the year. It's been a good ride, but the year isn't over yet. We still got about 3 to 4 more episodes left for the rest of this month before we're done with this year. But without further ado, let's get to the intro. Let's be real. All right, we back, and let's go and get to our first topic. Deion Sanders. News just dropped, and this is not official yet. Last week, Lane Kiffin was news that Lane Kiffin was going to Auburn, and it ended up being true. So this is all speculation that he's accepting the job to Colorado after winning the SWAC championship today. That the SWAC championship game is getting played today between Jackson State and Southern. So the first question I actually have 2 questions for this topic since it's dealing with him, the HBCU, him leaving for a Power 5 school. So the first is just, what are your thoughts if he actually is leaving for Colorado? We start with Tuke, Trevor, Sheedy, and hopefully Scott can get back on.
So what's your first question?
Just what are your thoughts about the whole, just him potentially leaving for Colorado?
I mean, more power to you. Black man, get your money. I'll never, stop or want to say I don't want you to get your money, but at the same time, your goal was to enhance the lifestyle and the performances for HBCU colleges. You were shedding a light on the fact that HBCUs don't get looked at by NFL reps or anything like that. And last year alone, you were able to bring damn near every team to your college, which made an impact, not only for JSU students, but for HBCU students as well. And now, you just leaving out the blue like that. What does that do for HBCUs? We still got the Eddie Georges of the world at TSUs and a couple other colleges, but like that, I think that's going to hurt because you, like I said, you were putting a light on us on a situation where we needed it. And now that you're leaving to go to another state, to go to another city where I don't even know any Colorado player to go to the NFL. I'm not sure of any. I don't know too much about Colorado. So for you to just leave straight up, $5 million a season, it's literally in your song that you made 20, 30 years ago must be the money. Because ain't no way in hell I'll leave, a situation where I say that I was bringing a light to, that I say I was passionate about, that I say I want to do good in this community. And you just straight up leave, for the money, which I get you're a businessman, but at the same time, it kind of felt like a stab in the back, especially since you took away the Southern Heritage Classic from us. So now what we're gonna do about that? You taking away opportunities, like I said, for Black athletes, even though they're coming to Colorado. What the hell they gonna do in Colorado besides smoke the legal weed that they gonna get endorsed for? So that's my 2 cents on that. I think it's just stay to JSU, but I get it. Go get your money, Black man.
Of course. And to tell us how you really feel, because I think your feelings is more so because he took the Southern Hedge Classic away. But let's just keep it a book. Like, what else could Deion have done at JSU? Like in the 3 years he's been there, they've gone 4-3. That was his first season there. They finished second in the conference. They won the conference championship last season at 11-2, and then he's led them to their first undefeated season in the Wild, and they're playing for a SWAC championship today. So what else possibly could Deion do? So you're asking him to stay there to possibly keep the spotlight and things of that nature on HBCUs, well, that should be the responsibility of the HBCUs themselves. Now, it's unfortunate that it's not getting the love that it's getting because they're in Jackson, Mississippi. And we all know what's going on in Mississippi right now with the whole Brett Favre situation and the former governor and current governor of Mississippi conspiring with him to do what they did. So we understand that whole issue. But from the case of Deion, man, I agree with you that maybe something else could have been out there potentially for him. But I mean, $5 million is $5 million. Go get your money, black man, at this point. It's sad. It hurts. I would have wanted him to stay as well, but I understand as well from a football standpoint, like what else could you have done? You turned the program around in 2 years. You got arguably the number one player in the nation to decommit from Florida State to come play for you. So as far as them getting HBCUs on a national status, it's not just up to one man. It's going to take all HBCUs, and it's going to take the respective public officials and folks in the cities of these communities to help put a spotlight on it if you really want to keep it a buck. But in the end, man, if it's true, because it's not confirmed from Deion or no one in his camp yet, go get your money. That's all I got to say. It is what it is.
Chief, can I answer real quick before you go?
Yeah, I was telling you earlier. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. So just to answer, like, shout out to you for us for continuously bringing up Brett Favre and the BS that's going on out there. But you asked what I want to see. I would have loved to seen JSU in the top 10 ranking before he left. I would have loved to seen JSU compete to be in the top 4 seed. You know, us talking about whether or not they can go against the powerhouses, you know, in the Georgia and the Florida, and the fact that he was able to get, you know, the top recruits to decommit his son and everything else. He could have brought more recruits in next year to go for that opportunity. That's all I wanted to see. If you're asking what more I want to see, because it would have put HBCUs on the map. You were literally that school for HBCUs for us to have a fighting chance to go against Alabama, for us to go against the TCU, and now we don't get the opportunity anymore.
Well, my friend, that's another topic for another day, because I, as a Tennessee fan, has fell victim to college football politics, because that's all what it is at this point. So
it's the SWAC conference in Division 1 or Division 2?
I think they're like
1AA.
1AA.
Yeah, so
they're not even
D1.
They're not even fully D1. They couldn't even get there. And again, college football politics, they're gonna do everything they can to try to keep an HBCU out of a Power 5. Let's just keep it what it is. What up, Ryan?
What up, Ryan, man? Glad to see you on. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah. First of all, to the point, yeah. And I was trying to think like how I was going to answer this question and hearing what you guys have said already and not trying to go either way, but I'll just speak from the heart that I have. Prime go get his money, and Prime going to do whatever it is. And let's be honest, this situation, if it does go through all the way, is going to be a situation that he wants. Because when a team comes to you and says, hey, we want you to coach here, you then have all the leverage to say, okay, if I'm a coach here, I need X, Y, Z taken care of. And let's not diminish, he may be looking to bring some of those African-American athletes to now more of a Division I opportunity at Colorado to give Colorado, by the way, Mason Crosby and Cordell Stewart, and we'll just stop there. Players to give them the opportunity to actually be in the NFL. We talked about the blueprint too. I love that. You're right. He gave the blueprint. He gave a whole kind of like a tryout, so to speak, of African Americans to be here to make it to the NFL. And if it's not him, to Trevor's point, everyone should be able to pick this up. Where's Eric Robinson Jr.? What is he doing? Is he not swag? I don't know. But it's on everyone to pick up the pieces. Martin Luther King didn't lead by himself. He led with everyone else. He was a figure. Malcolm X did not lead by himself. He was a figure. Everyone else had to do work as well. And so when those two monumental figures moved on, other people had to pick up the slack. And I think that's the same thing here that's happening with us in HBCU land. It's unfortunate, yes, for HBCUs, but hell, within that time, we shine. And let's not say that didn't happen. And right now, if I don't think we're stuck, I think there's still that opportunity to still grow. You got Eddie George, and I guess Eddie Robinson Jr. and others around that can bring more light to HBCUs, but also some players too to make that decision. But will there be more decisions to go to Colorado? Yeah, maybe so. But at the end of the day, as you say, to get your money, some HBCUs ain't got it, and just period, point blank. And it's unfortunate. It's very, very unfortunate what a HBCU school, LOC, University of Memphis, facilities. There you go. And until that is stopped, then we're always going to have that issue. And I don't think that's going to stop for at least another generation. And when I say generation, I mean a century. Because even when people raise money, I got you in 1 second. Even when people raise money for HBCUs, they raise the money for about 4 to 5 schools of HBCUs. And then the rest of them don't get that much money. You get the money to Howard. You get the money for those bigger HBCUs. But the Central States, the Lanes, the LOCs, those other smaller schools don't benefit from these great HBCU things that people say that they do. If you really look at the tail of the tape of the numbers. And so it's still going to be on to the primes to be there, to be helpful in that extent as well. Go ahead, Trevor.
Yeah, I was just going to say real quick. Prime got College Game Day to come to Jackson State for College Game Day. Like, if that's not a W within itself, I don't know what is for HBCUs. So it's really up to all HBCUs, not just Jackson State, because we know politically what's going on in the state of Mississippi, but it's up to all HBCUs to try to kind of pick up the pieces and keep this momentum that Deion helped build, try to keep this momentum going.
Agreed. And Colorado is a job, and the Pac 10, 12, 6, whatever, however many teams they got, 4.5, it's still a job that's paying him percentages higher than what he was getting. And again, I think there's going to be some clauses within his own contract that they must meet in order for him to say, yes, I will coach here. And I guarantee you there's going to be something about African Americans and HBCU kids or Black kids themselves and making sure that they get those numbers as well. I just don't think, we don't know everything about the contract if it is done. And I believe in Prime him saying, hey, listen, this is why I left. Even though I'm leaving this, I'm bringing some of this here with me. You got to accept this with me as your head coach.
And we have Skylar back. Skylar, in case you I know everything going up to Wi-Fi. The question is, what are your thoughts about Deion potentially head to Colorado State?
Yeah, first of all, hopefully I have better Wi-Fi here than I do in Jackson, Mississippi. But nonetheless, I really don't see what the problem or the issue is here. I tweeted out this morning that I think we too old to be in other people's business. And I feel like in this point in time, this is exactly where we're doing. Like, Coach Prime is probably, and I'm pretty sure he's making the best decision for him. He's making the best decision for his family. So if the best decision for him and for his family is to go to Colorado and leave Jackson State or leave Jackson, Mississippi, then who are we to judge him? I'm pretty sure he has goals in life that he has set for himself. There are goals and aspirations that he has set for his family. In order to meet those goals, in order to make his wife happy, in order to make his kids happy, to make his wallet happy, he has to do the best thing for him. And so if that means going to Colorado, then hell, that means going to Colorado. We all know at the end of the day that there is probably only so much exposure or type of recruits that he wanted to get just because he was in Jackson State. And he did essentially the best that he could for that city, for the conference. Trevor already mentioned it. He got College Game Day to come to Jackson, Mississippi. We know as Memphians what College Game Day means to the city. because College Game Day came here to Memphis. And so for us to get the exposure that we got, I'm pretty sure he did exactly what he wanted to do, which was, put Jackson State on the map, put HBCU on the map. And really, outside of Dion, who else is doing the job that he's doing? At the end of the day, that's that man's business to move on, to do other things that he probably has set for himself. And so at the end of the day, if he wants to go to Colorado, let him go to Colorado. The only issue that I have with this is I don't feel like Memphis didn't even offer him, or at least try to talk to him. And so I'm a little jealous at that, but that has nothing to do with it. So I think we at the end of the day, we have to understand that people have decisions that they should be able to make on their own, and who are we to judge?
Well said, man. My preaching to the choir. My thoughts kind of similar to Skylar's and Trevor's and Sheedy's. Just, the name of our show is Let's Be Real. Let's be real. We knew he wasn't going to be at Jackson State forever, right? Now I understand Colorado is not the most glamorous job. They just went 1-11 this year. I think Colorado, they have a history a long time ago, 9-hour lifetime or 9-hour time of watching football, but they have won a national championship before. They were good around the time he played. But it kind of just come down to what, like Trevor said, what more could he do at Jackson State? And I think just opportunity presented itself that eventually he's going to move on to a Power 5. He did a lot for College Game Day. At some point, you're limited. I don't know what more. It takes a collection to get HBCUs up. Dion wasn't going to be able to do it by himself. And not saying he was doing it by himself, but he brought a lot of exposure that he wasn't getting before. It was only so much that he can continue to do going to the future. So a lot of it, I want to almost say it's fake outrage in the sense that I think it's more so that he's going to Colorado more than if Florida State came on, he went to Florida State, you wouldn't get this big outrage. Because that was kind of understood, like Florida State's alma mater, this and that. But going to Colorado, a team that hasn't been good in 20 years, really, I think that's more the big. It's like people going to use that him going to Colorado for their anger, him leaving HBCU more than him actually leaving HBCU.
And it sounds like he wants a challenge. You just mentioned that they went 1-11 last year. Like people that are that great, people that are the LeBron James of the world, the Kobe Bryants, the Michael Jordans, the whomever, like these top athletes, these top coaches, Bill Belichick or Andy Reid, whatever, like these coaches and these players, they love a challenge. And I think we honestly do too. As men, as people that live in this world, we want something to be able to challenge ourselves. And so maybe his thought process was, well, hell, let me go to Colorado. This is a challenge for me. They went 1-11. People are saying that I probably can't do X, Y, and Z. So boom, let me prove these people wrong. And so maybe that's what his agenda is.
And my guy C here, the fellas present sports rap, man. He said, what's good? He did ask a question saying if he takes his players with him, the recruits, which more like his son and Travis Hunter will probably transfer with him to Colorado. Did he really set out what he accomplished to do?
I think he did. I think he did, and that's I'm one of the people, and Sharky, don't be calling me fake either. But I'm somebody.
I know. I want to talk about you.
But I am somebody never do that. That if any school, you could. There's so many other schools, right, outside of Colorado. But it is what it is. But to answer that question, he did set out to what he was gonna do. He did, true. That's true. Yeah. But he did go into JSU and he did make a name for JSU, even though JSU had the fan base there. He did elevate the players. He did elevate, HBCUs as a whole, and hopefully we get more former players to come back and coach, HBCUs. I think that'll help, and hopefully, players go and take his same blueprint. But I think he did go out and accomplish that goal. My goal, was for him to be a top 10, make JSU a top 10 school program. That would have been my goal, but that's just me personally. I think he does love a challenge, but damn, Colorado. That's my thing.
But too, you remember you said what's in Colorado? What's in Jackson, Mississippi? I hate to be that guy, but
black people.
Fan base. Hey, let's really keep it a buck here. Would we really be overacting like this for him going to if the rumor was that he was coming to Memphis instead of Colorado? Would it be so much backlash then? Not from us. Not from us, obviously. I'm just saying in general.
Oh yeah, it probably would be, especially because Memphis is not Power 5, so it probably been even worse because you left and now you go to a Power 5 job. So it national wise, they've been looking really at them crazy for real.
Touche.
If all this beautiful in dispensaries are God.
I mean, NIL deals gonna be crazy for weed smokers, man. They get so much
these
money out there.
NIL deals for the beat.
Boys,
Shitty, you out of pocket, G. Shitty, you out of pocket.
you already know what you're saying. Like that's recruiting.
Right.
You can come out here and smoke weed legally, the best in the U.S. legally, and they gonna pay me to smoke weed and play football. That's the dream. Come on,
That's American dream, bro.
Come on, bro.
It's gonna be a different cigar after a win this time.
Yeah.
Different cigar.
Everybody's trying to live the dream out here, man. It is what it is. Go get it.
Well, man, moving forward to college football playoff predictions. And speaking of Colorado, they are in the Pac-12, and the Pac-12 championship game was last night. And USC took a fat L to get knocked out of the college football playoff. Unfortunately, so our predictions, luckily we already had the game down. So everything we're predicting is based on what we believe. Pretty much we're predicting the championship games in the sense, but we're predicting our college football playoff. Everything's going to happen tomorrow. The championship games are happening today. So what is your final prediction for the college football playoff? Same order. Yeah, same order.
Well, it looks like it'll start with me because Tuca's not the big.
Yeah.
No homework assignments. Tell you.
So I think Georgia takes care of business against LSU in the SEC championship. That's a given. I just can't see a world where LSU is beating Georgia in the SEC championship. So Georgia will sit at the top of the rankings at number 1. I believe Michigan takes care of business as well in the Big Ten championship. And I think they're at number 2. Now 3 and 4 actually will get interesting because I'm calling it now. We saw it last night with USC. I think TCU gets upset too against Kansas State in the Big 12 championship, which, believe it or not, will move Sheedy's Ohio State Buckeyes back into the college football playoff. I believe it was 10-1, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. 11-1, excuse me. My apologies. 11-1. So they'll be number 3. And then the 4th spot, and as I mentioned to Tuke before, college politics was going to find a way. They're going to find a way to put Alabama at that 4th spot, which rightfully should go to Tennessee, honestly, truthfully, but they're going to find a way. I really think chaos is going to happen today. And I think the Final 4 will be Georgia at 1, Michigan at 2, Ohio State at 3, Alabama at 4. It hurts me to say it, but I know that's what's going to happen. Again, this is predicting that TCU loses today. So, but that was my 4.
So that's actually a good 4, and that was actually, I did do a little homework. I was able to look across from the, what I'm saying, and help out. But that's actually a good 4. I actually had, Ohio State at 4, but I think they still do manage to crack that top 4. And as far as Alabama go, we all know Alabama's gonna get in with the politics, and we just gonna have Lito happy with Alabama being in. So it is what it is. But yeah, that's definitely my 4.
Yeah, I had Ohio State in for the Federal president. Yeah, I had them in at 3.
The 3.
Okay. They'll be in regardless with the USC loss. Like I just can't see how they don't get in.
Yeah, it would have been cool to see USC in though for sure.
Nah, it is what it is. The Ohio State is the best one-loss team in the nation, so we rightfully deserve to be in the top 4. And if we're going to lose again, I'd rather us lose again to a top 4 seed than to lose to anyone else. So we definitely in the top 4. So Georgia, if Georgia can play whoever the hell they want to play in the SEC championship, and I don't give a damn if they even lose that game. They could lose, and I know this is not real. That I know they're playing LSU. They could lose to fucking Ole Miss at this point, and they would still be in the top 4 to me personally because of the amount of work that they've done this entire year. So Georgia is 1. Michigan, again, they could lose again in the Big Ten championship to me and still be in the top 4. Honestly, I know that we're not, but they are number 2. I have to disagree. I think TCU will take care of business. That leaves them at 3, and that leaves Ohio State at 4. And I'm gonna leave it at that. The Buckeyes are back in, and I'll say nothing else.
I know you happy.
And yes, I was being petty, keeping up my guy T Hands go blue
As you were talking.
the whole time.
I saw it. I didn't look down this time.
I'll echo what Chidi said. I think, most of what he said. I think regardless if Georgia wins or loses, they'll be in. I'm pretty sure that they'll still be around the 1 or 2 seed if they take a L. So I'm pretty sure Georgia will be in there for sure. I don't see Purdue beating Michigan. Now, granted, it's something about Michigan that I just don't trust. But I still think they'll find a way to win the game, probably like 21-10 or something like that against Purdue. I still have TCU winning. TCU has been battle tested throughout the season. They have multiple wins where it's come down to the last possession or two, where it's come down to the last few minutes of a football game, and they found a way to win those football games. And so I think because they're battle tested, they're hungry, they want history, I think they'll find a way to win the Big 12. And I think at the end of the day, that leaves the 4 seed, which we just saw USC get pummeled. They got absolutely ran over by a Utah team. And so regardless of how you feel about USC, I'm good on watching any college football team not be able to tackle. Literally, I think USC maybe made 2 tackles in the fourth quarter of yesterday's game, and I'm not lying when I say that. So I'm so good on USC being in the Final Four. And I think I tweeted this last night. I'm starting to look at Lincoln Riley just a little bit different than I think most people are. Lincoln Riley is a great coach for sure, like not taking that away from him, but there have been times last night proven case one, but then again when he was at Oklahoma, he just found a way to lose the game that prevents him from being in the Final Four. And that's happened multiple times too. So again, when somebody shows you who they are, then believe them. So I think at the end of the day, those 3. So with USC losing, that puts Ohio State in. I think the door is closed for Alabama. I just don't think that TCU is gonna lose and cause chaos. So those are my 4.
The 4 now with USC losing, Ohio State was number 5, so they definitely are moving up. TCU, even with a loss, in my opinion, should be in, unless they just get blown out like by 15, 20, 25 points. Looking at the resumes, Alabama's best win is at Texas. TCU beat Texas at Texas as well, and that's their second best win. Their best win is against Kansas State, the team that they're about to play for the Big 12 championship. So hypothetically, you lose. If they lose to a team that they already beat, and there's a better win than what any win that Alabama has. I know Alabama's 2 losses are about combined 4 points. A loss is a loss. Last time I checked, a win is win. Last time I checked, ain't no pretty losses around here that's gonna get you a 2-loss Alabama team that should be over a 1-loss TCU team, in my opinion. But we know the politics of college football, and TCU, don't let it come to their chance, because if they have the opportunity to put Michigan, Georgia, Alabama, and Ohio State in the 14 playoff, they would probably do it. So I'm going to predict that TCU is going to take care of business and not leave it up to their chance. And they will stick at number 3. Georgia and Michigan, win or lose, they're going to be 1 and 2. The only thing they'll change is Georgia lose and Michigan win. They'll be 1 and Georgia 2, or vice versa. But I think it's going to stay the same. Both of them will win. It'll be Georgia, Michigan, TCU, and Ohio State as the top 4. But please, TCU, please take care of business.
Yeah, for their own sake, take care of business. But let's really get chaotic, because we're saying if Georgia loses, I mean, we're all pretty much thinking Georgia's going to win. But hypothetically, let's say LSU does pull it off. Who is your 4? Because you can't not put LSU in as the SEC champion.
Yeah, you can. They lost.
Yes, I can. Mm-hmm. Yes, I can.
Mm-hmm. They got 3 losses. They out.
Yes, I can.
That's it. It's over for LSU. That's the reason why LSU is ranked what, 10 or 11?
Okay. I think your
if they lose last week, my man. If they lose last week, they would be in.
They probably would. Okay.
Texas A&M beat them by like 20.
Yeah, Texas A&M kind of gave them a beat down. So yeah, you facts. So
right, Scott, you can go. My bad.
No, I was just. I think the first part of what Trevor said is a legit point. Like, I think we are totally counting out that Georgia can potentially lose. And I think we've seen some good LSU and we've seen some bad. And I mean, I don't think this will happen, but there could be a case where Georgia kind of like sleepwalks into this game because at the end of the day, we all know if they lose the game, they'll still be in the 4. So maybe they let their foot off the gas a little bit because at the end of the day, like what do they technically have to lose if they lose today? And I don't think they have much to lose for. So if they lose, who cares? I still think they'll be in the 4, but I still think if they lose, they'll probably slide down to the 2 or maybe as far as the 3, but they'll still be in for sure.
And the answer, I got C Hands question, but through the eye test, do you think TCU beat OSU with Alabama? We don't do what if scenarios on this podcast, unfortunately.
What is greater than what if?
Yeah. Judging by resume, TCU should be in over Alabama having 2 close losses, but knowing the committee, they might take a hypothetical scenario like you just asked. So we don't know what the committee is thinking. They might think like that, right? They might not think like how we think what is or what if. So that's unfortunate. I think Sheedy, you had something?
No, I was just going to kind of walk with what Skylar was saying. Like, even if Georgia loses today, their game, then Georgia then becomes the best one-loss team in the entire nation. And they only drop 2 at worst 3. And then they reprove themselves again. But like that, even if they sleepwalk into this game and lose, oh, okay, well, LSU wins. Too bad, LSU. You still going to not make the top 4, and Georgia is still in because y'all should have took care of business the other games throughout the year.
Yeah.
Yep. And plus with eye test, when you go to the eye test thinking, Alabama's defense is trash. So, I mean, if you want to just keep it 100, I see TCU play for you, I can teach you got a shot with their offense against their defense. It's not like a foregone conclusion. But before we move forward, we get to our NFL topics. Let's get a word from our sponsor. Let's Be Real Media is pleased to announce we are sponsored by Ralph Brand. Ralph culture is surrounded by skates, punk, and hip-hop art. We are looking forward to co-designing materials for this journey with them. Please visit ralphbrand.com for purchasing merch now and for future collaborations with Let's Be Real Media. All right, we back. Before we move forward, got one last comment. I got C hand, so it's OSU's. I think you're talking about the defense coming. It's a good point. They got 1 loss to Alabama's too, so it still goes back to how many losses.
I'm sorry. What was said? What was said? What was said? OSU's is trash. Oh, okay, got it. No, you're right.
You're talking about your defense. I'm not the defense.
Is that true?
Yeah,
because all of a sudden, Michigan's quarterback can all of a sudden throw down the field against y'all. He ain't been able to throw down the field all season. Like what?
I get it. We'll see you back in the playoffs.
That's crazy. Oh nah. Oh boy. Rivalries gotta love them. But get on to NFL. You got a couple of, I guess, quarterback, not necessarily controversies, but we're about to make some controversies on this podcast. All right, going on in Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers just hurt his ribs. I guess he still is going to try and play. Green Bay is 4-8. The season is over with. Jordan Love only got 1 year left on their rookie contract before they got to determine. I think they got to determine this offseason. They want to do the 5th-year option on it. Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love the rest of the season. Should Green Bay go ahead and see what they got in Jordan Love, or should they let Aaron Rodgers ride it out with their big contract that you just signed him to? Let's start with Skyler, Sheedy, Trevor, and Tuke.
Yeah, actually, really love this topic because I know it's been a topic of discussion. I know a lot around NFL circles early this week, especially with the play of Aaron Rodgers. And so, to answer the question, I think at this point, like, you know what you have in Aaron Rodgers, before this year and kind of what he looks like now. And he is, to what Sharky just said, he's 4-8, and I wouldn't say he's the sole reason for that 4-8. But he plays a big factor in that. He's missed throws, he's missed coverages. Their defense also has not played well too. So I think at the end of the day, with what you just said, Sharky, knowing that at some point you have to realize or think about what you have in Jordan Love, and paying Aaron Rodgers, who at this point is 30 something up there, and he has I think $150 million left on his contract that he just signed early this year. You got to see what you have in Jordan Love, so that way you can either see if you need to move off of Aaron Rodgers, or if you need to try to trade Jordan Love. But at the end of the day, I think this whole debacle back and forth. You see how I did that? This whole debacle back and forth. I think you have to start to quiet this noise. If you're the Green Bay Packers, I'm pretty sure if you're the GM, if you're the owner, if you're Matt LaFleur, if you're the head coach, I'm pretty sure you're tired of answering these questions. If you're Aaron Rodgers, I'm pretty sure you're tired of answering these questions. If you're Jordan Love, I'm pretty sure you're tired of answering these questions and kind of dealing with the whole diva that is Aaron Rodgers. So I think at the end of the day, I would go ahead and play him, see what you have in him, and if he's worth having another look at, then you can potentially, push that 5th year and have him back on the team. Or if you think maybe we need to go ahead and move Jordan Love and keep Jordan Love, and then maybe think about moving Aaron Rodgers, then you need to figure that out very, very soon. And I think that, granted, Aaron Rodgers has not looked well. There will be a team that's willing to at least trade for him. let's just keep it real. So I think you play Jordan Love and see what you have in him.
Now, Cap, I got to address that comment real quick. No one on this podcast said anything about some Michigan players can't do this, that, or the third. So, with that being said, congratulations on your win. We'll see you in the college football playoffs. You beat us 2 years in a row. That's the end of that. Stop talking about it. Moving on to Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers.
Hey, for those listening audio wise, I got to see here the fellas present Sports Rap. Check out his podcast as well on Spotify and podcast platforms as well. He made a comment talking about Ohio State's defense again, give up 40 points to other teams.
Shit, he talking to him like he aiding. Damn.
Man, we ready to move on. That's all. Y'all won. There's nothing more I can say. Like, I get it. Like, yeah. I'm not the person that's going to talk trash after I win. Y'all won. Great. Moving on. Jordan Love or Aaron Rodgers. Honest to goodness truth, to move with what Skylar was saying, the Packers this year are 4-8 because of Aaron Rodgers. Because Aaron Rodgers got the money he got, they did not look to pay Devontae Adams. They did not look to get their best on defense, and they have to live with what they have. Now, with that being said, has he carried them to 4-8? Has he carried them to these 4 wins and these 8 losses? Yes, because you live and die through Aaron Rodgers when you're Green Bay Packers. But why not give Jordan Love an opportunity now? Why not? You're not going to. Jordan Love is not going to come into this situation for the Green Bay and turn them around, and all of a sudden they win 5 straight games and they're on pace to be in the NFC Championship game. That ain't going to happen. But at least let him start building some chemistry with those receivers that are young. He's young. They start building that rapport together with one another. You cannot tell me there are not going to be at least 20 teams knocking at your door asking for Aaron Rodgers' services, because Aaron Rodgers is still that good of a quarterback if given those type of materials. If he's getting a better running back, better offensive line, better receivers, he can still be something, i.e. Tom Brady. Tom Brady is arguably one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. He left, went to Tampa Bay, and still won a goddamn Super Bowl. Well, Aaron Rodgers is not going to win you a Super Bowl. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, he's still a serviceable quarterback. And so to me, I think you put him down, let Jordan Love play, see what is out there, see what you can get. And I'm sure there are a slew of teams that would trade houses, mansions, coaches, their wives to have Aaron Rodgers on their team. Yes, I said trade their wives.
Is this on me? Is this mic on? All right, because I've been waiting on this topic for a very, very long time. And I'll start with a quote from a not so good movie, Get Rich or Die Trying, by the one Terrence Howard. Is when I'm right, and when I'm wrong, I could have been right. So I'm still right because I could have been wrong. So I use that quote because back in my 6-man days of Let's Be Real, back in 2018, I told these fellas on this fellow podcast that Aaron Rodgers had 3 years left and that he was going to be completely washed after those 3 years. Ladies and gentlemen, it is year 4, and we are already talking about Aaron Rodgers possibly being moved and seeing what Jordan Love has. There was a reason Jordan Love was drafted when he was drafted, and I'll just say this: it pays me to say that I'm right here. I told y'all Aaron Rodgers was done. The injuries are piling up. He just turned 39 yesterday. I don't see teams lining up like that for people to take on a 39-year-old Aaron Rodgers with injuries piling up. To Sheedy's point, you're talking about Tom Brady. Yeah, Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay and he got him a Super Bowl. How's he looking now? Straight garbage. Yeah, their offensive line is beat up a little bit. I'll give him that, but he hasn't looked the same since Giselle decided to leave him. I told y'all Aaron Rodgers had 3 years left. It is year 4. Aaron Rodgers is done. So at this point, let's just see what Jordan Love has if you're Green Bay. I guess if you want to trade for Aaron Rodgers and see what you can get for 1 year, you may get one more good season out of him, but Aaron Rodgers is done. And I told you guys this 3 years ago. Well, actually 4 years ago. So, hey, that's all I got to say.
Skyler.
Yeah, go ahead, Scott.
I mean, bro ain't done. Again, going back to my point, he ain't. Again, he's not the sole reason. Yes, Aaron Rodgers has played bad, but one, their defense is very talented, top to bottom, and they have not shown up. 1, 2, his receivers. Now, granted, he pushed Devontae Adams out the door, and he needs to own that for sure. But not up until what 2 or 3 weeks ago, his defense, his receivers wasn't helping him. Just ask Christian Watson, who has now become like the star of the league, that's just now started making catches. Randall Cobb was not getting open. Alan Lazard was not getting open. So not all of that is on Aaron Rodgers. And if you're going to tell me there are how many NFL teams in the league, and you're going to tell me that nobody thinks that Aaron Rodgers is worth trading for, I think you're on a different level than maybe me and maybe somebody else is. Ask the New York Jets would they probably trade for Aaron Rodgers. They probably would. Who's next up on this topic? Ask the New York Giants how much they really want Daniel Jones. That there are teams that are out here that will probably do whatever they need to do. To what Sheedy just said, maybe I'll trade my wife for Aaron Rodgers just because I need a quarterback. He ain't that bad. He ain't that bad. I don't think he's cooked just yet.
Honestly, truthfully, if I'm we'll get to the Jets in a second. If I'm the Giants, I'll just see what we can get in the draft. I will honestly just see what I can get in the draft. I'm not trading valuable assets for maybe one good year of Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is done, and he can't blame nobody but himself. Like you said it yourself, he pushed Devontae Adams out the door, and now look at his receiving core. Like you made this bed, now you have to sleep in it.
Sure.
So,
but he ain't cooked though. Like
no, he's done. The injuries are piling up, man. Bro just turned 39. Like and the injuries are piling up.
I get all of that.
He's
but
done.
You're not telling me that there are 32 other quarterbacks that you'd rather have than Aaron Rodgers. You're not telling me that with a straight face. You're not.
Not a 30.
Let's talk about the Steelers.
I would rather have Kenny Pickett right now.
Yeah, not granted. I'd rather have Kenny Pickett than Aaron Rodgers.
I'd rather have Kenny Pickett right now. So yeah,
I'd rather have Kenny Pickett. I'm good.
Thank you. My point. Nah, Rodgers did because if Rodgers could have took a pay cut to let Devontae get the bag there. That's on Aaron Rodgers. I'm leveling with y'all. I said you can maybe get one good year out of him, but after that, I don't see it. I think he's done. I'm sorry.
I think it's kind of. I don't think with that we can compare Aaron Rodgers' situation to Tom Brady, and what I mean by that is when a team says that they're getting Tom Brady, they're literally getting the GOAT. It's just a different mindset that Tom Brady has outside of Aaron Rodgers. So if a team, even if Aaron Rodgers would have been traded, let's say the same time that Tom Brady got traded, it still would have been Tom Brady over Aaron Rodgers. Like I said, just basically on the mental and the team that he went to, because the team was able to get him literally everything that he wanted and Tom Brady produced. Whereas Aaron Rodgers, if you put Aaron Rodgers in that situation, are you going to go get everything that you want for him? You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that's kind of fair, but I would say it kind of bringing back the feels of when, Brett Favre was still in a Packers uniform and, they waited last minute to to make the decision on whether they wanted to go with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. They're literally doing the same exact thing with Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love. Jordan Love, you picked him in the first round 2 years ago, and he's still, we can say it right now, he's damn near ain't seen a football field. I think that's an issue for one. But two, it's an issue for when you bring it back Aaron Rodgers for that kind of money and you still legit don't get him any help. Granted, you tried to trade, for DJ Moore with a first rounder, but trading for a top receiver at the trade deadline for Aaron Rodgers, that's not going to help out at all. So you really don't, you gave him a bag and left him out there and said, hey, go produce for us. Nah. So with that being said, Trevor, you're right as far as like the injuries and everything piling up with Aaron Rodgers. But there are not 32 quarterbacks better than Aaron Rodgers. And I'm going to just put it as that. And y'all know me, I ain't like Aaron Rodgers since he gave me that 1 point in fantasy football last year. So I've been on the anti-Aaron Rodgers bandwagon. But at the same time, I can see him starting again. Can I see him finishing the season? That's a different question for another day. But as far as Jordan Love go, let Jordan Love get some playing time. And it's about damn time. Y'all 4-8. Aaron Rodgers is done, and let's see what he got. Because y'all could have picked somebody else in the first round 2 years ago. Y'all damn near could have picked a wide receiver in the first round to help out Aaron Rodgers 2 years ago. But
or Jalen Hurts.
Was that?
Or Jalen Hurts.
Or Jalen Hurts.
Right now.
Or Jalen Hurts. But you picked Jordan Love, and this is the bed that the Packers made, so they got to lay in and out. That's all we're seeing.
Yeah, I forgot about our old quote. The salary cap is cap anyway. So yeah, they could have gave Devontae Adams the bag and still kept Aaron Rodgers at that contract. So yeah. But anyway, Sharky cap. Let's get
apparently what I heard was they lowballed him, then he wanted out. Then they was about to match the offer that the Raiders gave him. At that point, he was like, he out. So they still could have given him the bag. He have to give Aaron Rodgers the bag. So like Ryan said, that was a Packers problem. As for this situation, why not? This is deja vu from Brett Favre days. Brett Favre was contemplating retiring. They drafted Aaron Rodgers. He sat behind for 3 years. Every single year, Brett Favre contemplated retiring. He never retired. He finally retired after Aaron Rodgers' third year, and he tried to come back. And they was like, "Nah, we move forward. Aaron Rodgers, they traded him." This is Aaron Rodgers. This is Jordan Love's third year. Going to next year, Aaron Rodgers contemplated retirement this past season. I think the season before. I mean, just like Brett Favre. I mean, he's deja vu. He got mad at Brett Favre for the same stuff he's doing now. He learned from him, right? So next year, the rest of the season, this is the perfect time. 4-8. This is a perfect time to really look and say, hey, is Jordan Love our next guy? We drafted him in the first round. This is our time to go on here and really see this, because you got a fifth-year option coming up that you got to decide on keeping it or not keeping it, and deciding who you want to trade between Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love. You drafted him in the first round. You drafted him in the first round for a reason. It might be time to move on for Aaron Rodgers this offseason, move on to Jordan Love. But you got to go out here and see what you got now. This is the perfect opportunity while the season's pretty much over anyway.
Yeah, and if they need contracts or money to match, I know a team in cold weather that could use a pretty good quarterback that they're overpaying right now, that can probably match finances there in Denver. And I'll be damned if Denver don't turn it around with Aaron Rodgers back there as opposed to Russell. So, and Russell wants to the bench.
That's right.
No. Now with the dead cap, they're gonna get rid of him.
Exactly. That dead cap gonna be
they stuck with him for 2 more years. $107 million.
Yeah, that's a bed that you got to lay in. You just got to sit there and check that in.
Yeah. If you Denver, you got to sleep in that one.
Nah, they stuck. They stuck like Chuck.
There's a reason why it's clips of Russell Wilson saying Broncos country, let's ride. It may not be the cleanest ride, but you stuck with him for at least 2 more years.
They stuck with him. He ain't got to get no money back like that one guy on Twitter tried to allude to, talking about he need to get some money back. Get down somewhere.
Hey, quick, hold on, this has been popping on Twitter too. So is Russell Wilson eventually gonna match touchdowns for the amount of number of bathrooms that he has in his house in Denver?
How many restrooms he got?
He has 12. He has 12 restrooms in his house in Denver right now, and I believe as far as touchdowns, he's sitting at 9 passing touchdowns right now.
I hope so.
My only question to this: why the hell you got 12 bathrooms? I mean, I get it. You got money like that, you might as well blow it. But what the hell you gonna do with 12 restrooms?
Right? How you get Charmin in all of them, bro? That's a lot of Charmin.
Cha. Sean, man.
Look now.
But yeah, all the answers I think I answered because I just to see what Jordan Love would want to do, man. And I would gladly come on here and say if I'm wrong if Aaron Rodgers has a complete renaissance. But until then, he's done.
Them drugs is powerful, my boy. Ain't no telling what can happen.
Well, let's move forward to the next QB situation, if it is a situation. In the New York Jets, they're opposite of Green Bay. They are actually in the playoff position. They are in the playoffs currently, and their number 2 pick from last year, right? This is Zach Wilson's second year.
Yep.
They lost a game to the Patriots 10-3 on a punt game in the punt return for a touchdown. Offense only scored 3 points. Defense has been carrying the offense, especially in the starts he's had all season. And he proceeds to say, they asked him a question, hey, the offense did better or something. He was like, no, or something. Well, some along those lines where did the offense let the defense down? He was like, no. So he gets benched. Shout out to Robert Saleh because he's gonna lose locker room if he didn't. And he benched him for Mike White. And Mike White proceeds to throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in his very first game. And better than any game Zach Wilson has played this year. And I arguably to say I need to look at stats probably in his 2 years of starting. So Mike White, Zach Wilson going forward for the Jets. They stick with Mike White or do they go with their number 2 draft pick? Same order.
I think for now, until Mike White starts to kind of mess it up, because he kind of did the same thing last year where he kind of started out really, really well. And then that honeymoon phase kind of ended really, really soon. I think the same thing will happen again this year. So I'm pretty sure at some point the Jets are going to go back to Zach Wilson. But I'm hoping, if nothing else, like this is a learning lesson for Zach Wilson. Because, I mean, it's not necessarily the fact that they lost 10-3. This is the season for accountability. I said it all the time. And so when it was more so he lost his job because he got up there, reporter asked him, did they lose the game because of something? Basically, did they lose the game because their lack of productivity on offense? And he didn't take accountability for that. And if I'm a defensive lineman, if I'm a corner, if I'm a lineman, like realizing how bad that you played, but then also not taking accountability for how bad you played, in my opinion, that was one for him to get benched. And so I think at the end of the day, the Jets are going to go back to Zach Wilson because you still need to figure out if he's your quarterback of the future. Right now, he does not seem as if to be that way, but you got to make a decision on him really, really soon. Really, go ahead, Shark.
I got a question for you. For this season, do they go back to him or do they wait till next year?
No, I think they'll go back to him this season because I just think Mike White is going to, at some point, he's going to stink it up. So, and I think he's going to stink it up. So I think they'll go back to Zach Wilson. Zach, man, say
Oh, he showed. He reminded me. He reminded me of it too a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna go back to him, man. But you you write out White Mike until further notice, though, man. I mean, he to the point that you said, like when you lose the locker room, Denver Broncos, and they had that defensive lineman yelling at Les Ride's face on his helmet because he was bullshitting, right? And so, like, to be honest, you got to keep White Mike until White Mike can't jump no more. Then you throw back in Zach Wilson. But at least White Mike understands the situation. Understands the situation.
Shout out to Tuke's favorite basketball movie. They definitely rhyme.
White Mike understands the situation. Zach is still understanding his ego, bravado, whatever you want to say, and like you got to take ownership of that. Like you that was a bunch of shit, right? Let's just be honest. You only put up 3 points, then y'all lost, and you didn't think there was more that you could have done. No, you have to learn that, and that was a teachable moment, and I'm glad that happened. And so I would definitely say that he will definitely have another chance at it. But that is a strike, right? You don't just put him back in there without him knowing, listen, you can't have that shit happen again or take accountability when we lose. When we lose, it's a team sport. Everyone loses. It's not just one specific part of the defense or offense or special teams loses. We all lost. And so it's a teachable moment. But until then, White Mike is inserted.
I appreciate the Wayne's brothers references there, Sheedy. That's what's up. I can mess with that. For me, you have to see what Mike White can do. You have to ride this wave out until the end of the season. To Skyler's point, if some point he's probably going to mess up, you're going to have to go back to Zach Wilson because you got to make this whole thing work. Because it's funny how things kind of turn around in the football realm. Like we got on Chicago for passing up Deshaun Watson by taking Mitchell Trubisky. And this same situation may end up being a same for the Jets, where they took Zach Wilson, where in all honesty, truthfully, they should have took Justin Fields with that second overall pick because they weren't going to get Trevor Lawrence. They should have just took Justin Fields. For some reason, I don't know what was the issue or what was the big hype with Zach Wilson because he hadn't played that much competition at BYU. I guess his pro day and his arm and things of that nature, I guess the just figured, well, he has the physical gift, so maybe we can coach him up, but that's not always the case. When you've played a certain way for some long time, for a certain amount of time, it's either you try to hone that into what the team tries to do, or it just doesn't work. Eventually, they're going to go back to Zach Wilson because they have no choice because, again, he's the number 2 overall pick. Me personally, I would have taken Justin Fields with that second overall pick, but that's just me. And you see what he's doing in Chicago with virtually nobody. So just think with Justin Fields in this jet system, with this team and with this defense, it'd be a whole different story.
And one of his receivers.
Yeah. So, but for right now, because he looked great in this past game, and I'm pretty sure he's going to start this game, you ride it out with Mike White until you have no choice but to put Zach Wilson back in there.
And Tuke dropped off, so I'll go next. And the rest of the season, at this point, man, it's December now. Like, they going back to Zach Wilson. You talking about like week 17, and they in the middle of a playoff race right now. So you ride out Mike White, and in my opinion, especially, I picked him up in fantasy to save my fantasy season. So I need him to produce in our LBR league for me to make a comeback. So, man, play Mike White. Might as well. Like I said, his one game, he had a better game than Zach Wilson has had since he's been in the NFL. So, I stick out Mike White the rest of the season, and I'll see if you make a decision because at this point, after those comments, I don't know if he can get the locker room back. I'm just be honest with you. As a defensive player, I don't forget that. There's not enough apologizing that's going to make me have belief in you that you can lead me later on in the future.
Yeah. And as a lineman, I take that to heart because I'm not going to block as hard for you now.
Right.
Going forward. So, yeah.
All right, Tuke back.
Yeah. So I just used the next game as the reference point for whether Mike White will continue to start. And what I mean by that is that, y'all raved about how Mike White had the best game, better game than Zach Wilson, but they just went against a Bears team with Trevor Siemian at quarterback. You know what I'm saying? So if what's his name, Justin Fields would have been quarterback, we would be talking about Mike White right now. And Skyler, you hit it on the head. Like, he had a great start, but he still ended up with more interceptions than touchdowns last season when he did get a chance to play. So they're going against a Vikings team this weekend. And let's see if Mike White can pull up a dub against the Vikings, who I still got in the playoffs and winning their conference or division. Cool, keep them. But I'm still somebody under the impression that Zach Wilson will see QB1 spot, by the end of the season. Because he still managed to beat, the Dolphins. He still managed to beat the Bills, earlier season. He's beat a couple of good teams. And, even though he's had a few terrible games, they're still in the playoff contention where nobody thought the Jets would be. So just pump the brakes on Zach Wilson just a little bit. Leadership may not be there yet, but he's getting y'all some dubs.
Okay, let me ask this. How much of those big wins that you just mentioned are more so about him than the Jets defense? Because we've raved time and time again.
Jets, so I can't answer that question.
Yeah, so we raved time and time again about the Jets defense. And if I'm not mistaken, during those key wins, they had another guy. Oh, yeah, Breece Hall was still in the lineup who was killing it in his rookie season for the Jets. So, and they don't have him now. So, yeah. Ride it out with Mike White until the wheels fall off. And then when they do, you have no choice but to go back to Zach Wilson.
And the wheels fall off next game. That's what I'm saying. Like, you beat Trevor Siemian, bro. Like,
Hey, Trevor Siemian don't play defense though. Hey,
Exactly. He doesn't play defense.
He on the other side. It had nothing to do with that.
But I think to clean it up a little bit, Chicago's defense is not good last week. And now, granted, they had some injuries last week for sure. So I think that's the thing is now now it's week 2. Now, granted, there was already film on you before, but now that it's week 2, now that there's a team legit like there to game plan for you, let's see how White Mike looks.
All right, fun times. Hey, man, we just gonna call the show right here because I had some other QBs, but it's not necessarily controversies around those teams. Taylor Heineke got the job in Washington. There's no controversy, right? It was a couple other teams. The Saints, James Winston, I don't think he's starting anymore. Like it's over with. And Dalton got it for whatever reason. So, and one like these two teams where a potential change could happen.
Leave my team out your mouth too.
Yeah, the Panthers were on my list too. But
the Panthers are on the list too. Come on now.
Because that phone got 4 people that pick
right.
It
don't matter. It's like,
bro, got a deck of cards. Who gonna start today?
Right. Who got Jordan Baker listed as QB on their roster?
Like, I'd rather take Jordan Baker at this point. Give me some.
The folks got Brucey on the depth chart.
Phone got Airbud as QB5 on the roster.
And I reckon better than y'all. So.
They got Paul Crew as QB3.
Hey, you set yourself up for that, cuz we weren't going to even mention the Panthers.
Yeah.
You did it. You did this.
Well, we still got the same record. Ain't that some shit?
At least I know who my quarterback is.
I know who my quarterback is.
Barely.
Nah, I ain't barely. We know for sure now.
Ooh, I like this.
Barely.
Talk to him.
I got Ryan joining in now. Got to try out CFP.
Damn, Ryan, I thought you was a homie, bro. I thought you was a homie, man.
Might as well get Sam Donald a shot again at this point.
Nah, he won last week.
Real.
He
Bro, I didn't know that's I didn't play.
She got bros even healthy.
I'm sorry too. You my guy, but when I saw footage of your guy Baker practicing as a defensive lineman instead of taking QB snaps, I was like, bro, help my man out. Help my man.
I know you lying.
And we low-key sparing you because we ain't even got on you about the Baker Mayfield yet. I've been sparing you.
Ain't nothing I can say. Ain't shit I can say.
It's okay because me and Trevor been telling you that for like 2 years. I swear to God, it's okay. It's okay. You have nothing to say. Me and Trevor been telling you that for 2 years, brother. I'm glad you finally see
it. You couldn't give me nothing to work with. Like, y'all to work with.
He was not
this bad with the Browns, though. He wasn't this bad with the Browns, though.
Tell me why Scout sound like one of them power characters, my brother.
Oh man, you just made me think of that Mike stand up when you talking about the most. What kind of sandwich there, my brother? Jump around the garden. Oh man, this is great.
Oh man. But again, man, it's been fun. Yeah, that's what happens when we miss 2 weeks, man. We clown. Always fun doing the show with y'all, man. But shout out to everybody who made comments today. Fat Boy Faded Away. Ryan came back, man. Hope you're doing well, man. Glad to see you there, up and live and well. Also, my guy C Hen, be sure to check out his podcast as well. The Fellas Present Sports Rap and Fat Boy Faded Away, his podcast, and Ryan's podcast, The Jump Pass Tennessee. Also, shout out 3 the Hardaway. I'm pretty sure y'all are returning this upcoming week. We did have an NBA topic, but because Deion Sanders and that stuff happened, kind of got pushed to the side. But you got 3 the Hardaway for any of your NBA needs as well. Also, follow us, as always, LBR_media. Subscribe to YouTube, hit the notification button, and listen and subscribe on our 11 different podcasting audio platforms. And you always can follow me at DAONE_PShark on Twitter. That's still here for now, and it looks like we still have Twitter.
Scholar 2 times is my name. I'm just playing. I'm at _Scholar on Twitter. Y'all have a good one. Hey, Memphis Ole Miss today should be lit.
It should be lit. I'm at the Auto Trevor on Twitter. That's my star 5-stick. Twitter's still here. Let's hope that I can wake up out of this tank of this simulation that I'm in right now is just terrible. And I'll say one last thing. At this point, based on what's going on, at this point, who hasn't? And I'll leave it at there.
I know how to pick that one up from that one. But it's really shitty.
The rumor that's I'll put it like this: the rumor that's going around right now at this point, who hasn't?
What rumor?
Yeah, I'm still stuck, and I might be stuck on stupid. So I'm just gonna pass it over.
Chris Paul. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, damn! Who has
At
it?
this point? Who hasn't?
No lie, I didn't know what he was talking about until he said who hasn't. And when he did that, that's when I knew. I was like, oh, he taltalking about Chris Paul, Kim Kardashian, yada yada.
You gotta
Before that, I didn't know what he talking about either.
It's really shitty, but I'm just gonna pass it now.
We got one person speaking in code and one person whispering. Look, it's on the roll. Ed Tab Shakir, y'all hit us up, man. Shout out to the 999. Hey, let's get it, bro. Y'all tripping.
Also, of course, follow us Grizzly Bear Blues Podcast Network, Star 5 Podcast. We took a week off on there as well. We will be returning.
Oh, and I got some things for these people here on Starting 5. Stay tuned.
Like Trey Dillon? Oh, my bad.
Shout out to Grizzly.
Oh, no. Just stay tuned for Starting 5. That's all I have to say.
Stay tuned for Starting 5. Till next time, peace.
Peace.